Welcome, Farewell fans. Welcome to another one-on-one episode. I'm your host, MNG, and today I looked at your name, and I don't want to mess. I am known for messing up people's names. I don't want to mess up your name.
Naima.
Naima. I have Naima Spencer here, and she is sitting here to talk about her path from working minimum wage to being a CIA agent and then going over to being a life coach. Now, we all know that we go through these life trajectories and we go through these life changes and we pivot. I have pivoted in my career from time to time, just trying to figure out what I'm going to do and what was the best path for me. Now, can you just give us a little bit about yourself, just so the audience can kind of grasp the background?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Naima Spencer. I'm a certified mindset facilitator and strategic intervention life coach. My journey started 25 years ago when I moved from Morocco to the States in pursuit of the American dream. And of course, a lot of things happened. I moved here. It's a new country, didn't speak the language. Everything was different for me. Had a lot of catching up to do. I started working minimum wage jobs, whether that was babysitting or waitressing. But even though coming here, I had so many goals and so many dreams, and I wanted to go back. Like the first thing I wanted to do was go back to school and have an MBA, but it took me 8 years to even take action on that goal, because I lost all belief in myself and in my capability to change my life and to go after those dreams that I came here for. And I ended up just settling for 8 years, couldn't even think that another reality existed for me. And it wasn't until I discovered the personal development and self-help and the power of beliefs and mindset that I started to work on myself to change my situation, to change my circumstances. And that's when my life started to change for the better.
That's impressive, because you said that you're a mindset coach, and our mind kind of dictates our behavior and how we are. It can influence us to be when we're in a tough space, it can help us get into a more positive space. And sometimes when we're in a positive space, that same mindset can just put us in to make us put us in a place where we're kind of like, well, I'm in this positive space, but then there could be self-doubt as well. Now, you said that you had worked minimum wage. You were a waitress, you had babysitting, and you end up going back to school. So what gave you the courage to go back to school? What was the catalyst for that decision? And how did that shift change your life?
Yes. So 8 years, like you said, of a lot of frustration, feeling stuck, not knowing what to do. I didn't like where I was. A lot of people, when you ask them, they don't like where they are, but you ask them, well, what are you doing about it? And they don't know what to do. Or they don't have enough confidence in themselves to do something about their situation. And, for me, that was not the American dream that I was chasing. But I felt that I'm not capable to do anything else. And I believed that that was the best I could do. And that was all I could qualify for. So I continued doing the same thing every day and couldn't even imagine that another reality existed for me. But what made a difference, you hear people say, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, then people change. They take action. Change is scary.
Yes.
It's going outside of your comfort zone. So you think about change and you feel fear. Right. But when you reach that point and when that pain became just too much to take, I had to take action. That was the point of enough is enough. I did not want that situation to be how my story ends. So I realized that, at that point, I realized that that situation or the results that I was producing in my life, they had nothing to do with outside circumstances. My
Right.
circumstances, I'm the one responsible for my situation, for the results that I'm producing in my life. So, and I realized that for my life to change, for those circumstances to change, I had to change. So I had to work on my mindset. I had to work on myself. I had to figure out what my limiting beliefs are. I had to start to figure out how to get the courage to start taking actions that scared me, actions that took me outside of my comfort zone. And once I did that, my life began to change. So yeah, once you realize that it's okay to change and it's okay to take those actions and it's okay to push through the fear, because doing something, handling fear is not about, eradicating the fear or the self-doubt out of your life. It's not going to happen. That voice is going to be there, but you need to learn how to quiet that voice, how to quiet that inner dialogue, and to push through that even when the fear is there. They say the courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is just doing it while, still feeling the fear. And that's what I had to do. And the other important thing, in my opinion, is to just start with small actions. It doesn't have to be anything big. Like whatever goal you're pursuing, just break that down into small steps and take the smallest step you can take. And that will give you that confidence and boost your confidence so that you can take the next step and bigger steps until you really bring a change into your life.
Glad you mentioned that, small steps, because I think that, when we look at challenges, we look at the overall challenge, we look at the overall presence of that challenge and say, man, this is going to take me a long time to do. If a person wanted to save up $1,000, they're going to look at, okay, well, maybe if you look at it in big to small, oh, well, I need $1,000. Okay. So the first thing a person is going to look at is, well, how can I get $1,000? How can I save up this amount of money? How much money out of my check can I get to save $1,000? Now, some people may look at it and say, you know what? If I save $10 a week or $10 a paycheck, eventually I'll get there. They have that patience and that mindset to be able to do it in those small increments. But then somebody may say, well, you know what? I want to do it in $50. Somebody else may say, I want to do it in $100. And what it comes down to is, what is your time frame? What is your patience to be able to get there? Because some people can't put 500 here, 500 there. I got $1,000. Some people may not be able to do 10. Some people may not be able to do 20. Some people may be able to do $5. Even though the road is longer, you're still able to get there. It's about that time, that commitment, and that patience to getting to that goal. And I think once a person is able to master that, then the overall goal doesn't seem as big.
Yeah.
In relation to that, when people are looking at their own goals, and this is for all the Pharaoh fans, I kind of want you to look at it from this point of view. When you're looking at your own goals, look at what you're already doing in your current workspace, whatever that workspace is, the time, the patience, and the commitment that you're giving another job to help complete their goals in small increments. And look how they have it breakout, how they have it broken down, and then apply that to what you want to do as an example. So if you know that you're going to work to work 8 hours to build up to 40 hours just to get a paycheck, think about the 2 hours you could put, an hour, 2 hours of time you can invest in yourself a day, and look what that build up would be for the future. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it in that sense of the time that you're putting in to invest in somebody else's dream to the time that you could put in and invest in your own dream, then you can put those small increments in place to get to the same level or have the same dedication and time investing in yourself that you're investing into somebody else's dream at another job. So I think that if you put it in that mindset where you're already doing it, you just need to do it for yourself, it will help.
Yeah.
If we're just talking about small incremental changes.
Yeah, definitely. It's about discipline and consistency. You know, discipline will get you started, but consistency will keep you going. You know,
That's true.
talk about a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That's all you need to take. It's just that first step, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one. You know, I love, I can't remember the name of this speaker. He was talking about this woman who wanted to run a marathon, and she was overweight, but she had this goal of running a marathon. And you look at her, and there's no way you'll be like, this person can never run a marathon. That's insane. But she started with just going around the block where she lived, just walking 5 minutes around her block. And the next thing, she's doing 10 minutes. The next thing, she's jogging for 1 and then walking for 1. And you keep building that momentum. So it's not about looking at the big picture. You know, you want to save up. You gave the example of saving up $1,000. Well, how can I possibly save $1,000 if all you have is 5? But if you start with just that $1, that'll get you started. And you have to be committed and consistent. And you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and you build good habits about the goal that you want to achieve, and you just keep doing it. But the other thing is patience. You know, nothing happens overnight. If you want to lose weight, it doesn't happen overnight. It took you a while to pack the pounds, so it's going to take a while to lose that weight. So, but sometimes we get we get impatient. We want results right away. I'm starting a business. I need to get to my million right now. It's not going to happen. You know, a lot of times when you see the successful people that everyone talks about, we don't know what happens behind the scenes, but we're only looking at the end results. But they've been through a lot, and they've experienced a lot of setbacks. They experienced a lot of challenges, a lot of failures, but they kept going. But those are the things that we don't see, we don't hear about. We just see the end result, and we just want, I want that.
You're absolutely right. One thing that I want to say about failure, be comfortable with failure. Failure is a learning experience. It is not a deterrent. It is not a stop. It's none of that. Failure is a necessity for you to grow. That's how you learn. If you're not failing at something, then I feel like you're not doing it right. Every plan is not going to be a success. Like, I feel like you're missing something, and you think you're doing it right, but you're not.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about fear, what role did fear and self-doubt play in your journey? How did you overcome a significant career leap from minimum wage to CIA? Now that's impressive. I want to go to the IRS and work. So IRS, if y'all listening, find me a spot. I can send my resume over and credentials and everything.
Let me just be clear. It wasn't from the minimum job to the CIA. There was a whole journey in between, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so fear and self-doubt, they basically were two major forces in my life. They paralyzed me from moving forward. And, because of self-doubt and the fear, I was having thoughts like, I'm not good enough. I don't know what to do. And I was always afraid to take action and fail. Or what if I do this and I fail? What if I do that and I don't get the results that I want? And I was always imagining the worst case scenario. And that's because that's what fear does. Fear will prevent you from moving forward, will prevent you from taking action, and will prevent you from, just going for what you want. It paralyzes you. And so one of the things that I had to shift is, instead of asking questions or thinking thoughts like, okay, well, what if I fail? I just had to reframe those questions. Well, what if I succeed? It's a 50-50, right? What if
Right.
this works out for me? What if this is the start of a new journey for me? But it makes a big difference when you ask questions like that, because when you can change your entire state of being when you ask yourself good questions like that. But when you ask questions, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work out? Then you're not going to take action. You're going to feel paralyzed. So for me, overcoming fear and self-doubt, it wasn't about making them disappear. It was about learning to move forward and to take action despite the fear, despite the self-doubt. And I had to learn how to quiet my inner dialogue, because my inner dialogue sucked, for years. It was very negative, basically. So I had to start catching my thoughts, way I was talking to myself. And this is a big one. A lot of people, they identify with the thoughts so much that they don't question them. It's like whatever we think, that's the right thing, that's the truth, but it's not.
Right.
We
And
have
I
thoughts. Yeah.
and I feel like that we all are faced with our own inner demons,
Mm-hmm.
and we struggle with those inner thoughts, those very intrusive thoughts that say what we can or can't do, what we can and cannot achieve. And life begins on the other side of fear. You
Yeah.
can't let fear stop you from moving forward. You can't let fear stop you from achieving. When I was looking to go back to school, and this was after I got custody of my son, I knew that I wanted a better life for him, but I just really didn't know where I was going to end up or where I was going to go. And there was a lot of concern and self-doubt when I was going to get custody for him, because I didn't know whether the judge was going to say, yes, you can have them, or no, we're going to put you on child support, or we're going to double your child support because of the situation that the other person was in. So I was faced with so many different challenges and decisions
Yeah.
just from opening one door. Am I going to be ready for this? I've never seen anybody else in my family had take custody of their kid and be able to, raise them and provide for them. A lot of men in my family were, distant from their kids, so there wasn't a good representative there to where what I was doing was seemed even normal. It was the complete opposite. It was different. It wasn't the norm. So, but had I let that fear and self doubt set in to where I didn't open that door, there's no telling what the path would have been for me or for my son. And I think that's one of the things that, we're definitely trying to convey to, everybody that's watching and listening, is that, that one step forward can take you a long way if you keep taking steps. But at the time that, that fear or self doubt set in, you have to quiet those voices and just keep pushing forward.
Yes, definitely. Because fear is false evidence appearing real. Zig Ziglar said that. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And that's exactly what I meant by saying we identify with the thoughts. It's just a thought, and you have to question it. Is this thought true? Is this fear that I'm feeling real? And most of the time, if it's not an imminent threat in your environment, it's just a thought. It's just a fear of what might happen, not what is happening.
Right.
And it's a very subtle thing, but we have to be able to see that for what it is, to see the fear for what it is and move through it. Because that's the only way to get to the other side. That's the only way to bring change into your life for whatever you're trying to do. Fear is going to stop you because our brain is not designed to help us thrive. our brain is designed to help us survive. So your brain is going to do everything. We're going to give you all kind of thoughts to help you stay where you are, because right here is my comfort zone. Even if this is no longer comfortable, and this is what happened to me when I was working those jobs. That was my comfort zone. It was no longer comfortable. It was painful. I was physically and mentally suffering, and I actually was depressed, and I was taking medication for depression. But it was okay to stay here, and I was afraid to cross that line and go to the next level. Because what if? What if it doesn't work out? What if I go to school and I can't handle it? My English is not good. How can I compete with all these people who have years of experience and all of that? And all these thoughts were coming up. Well, how can I work and go to school at the same time? I can't do that. I need to support myself. I have bills to pay. I have nobody helping me. All these kind of thoughts. And when I ended up going to the campus and asking, I was living in Pennsylvania at that time, and I went to Penn State, and just to talk to someone there at the campus. And right there, I found out that I actually could have a student loan, that I qualified for a student loan. So financial side of it was solved. At least for that moment, I didn't have to worry about paying the tuition. I could have loans, student loan. So I found out that one issue that I was making a big deal out of, it's actually solved. I can apply for loans. And I found out that the courses are actually held at night. So I can still work during the day and go to school at night. And those thoughts prevented me from taking action. They were not real. All of those things that I used to convince myself to not take action, because it's scary to take action. And I convinced myself not to do any of that. And after 8 years, when I hit that point of enough is enough, and I took that action to just go to the campus and talk to someone, I found out that those things that held me back, they're not true. They were not challenges. There was a solution to each one of them. So 8 years was gone for no reason, because I stopped myself from taking action. It wasn't the circumstances, it was me. It was my own thoughts, my own beliefs.
Yeah. And, one thing I have to say is that anybody that decides to go back to school or has the courage to go back to school, have courage to change, you're making a big impact in your life, and you can inspire somebody else to do the same.
Yes.
Because it's not easy. And this is from a person that I went to 5 different colleges before I could actually complete, and it took me 13 years to get there. And it was difficult.
Yeah.
It was very difficult because of not understanding the financial aid, not understanding the student loan process, not being really educated on any of that stuff. So it was difficult, navigating the process. And honestly, when I came out of high school, I just wasn't ready for college. Like it just wasn't something that was talked about in my household. So I wasn't prepared for college. So for anybody that has made that turn to say, I want to go back to college, I'm going to better myself, it takes a lot to go back, to get back into the books and learn something new. Is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's very hard, because you have to back to the time, dedication, the energy. It's way more than people give it credit for. To leave work for 8 hours to go and sit in the classroom for 2 to 4 hours, that takes time and dedication. And then you got to contribute the time to studying.
Yes.
Take time and dedication. It's not for anybody that's looking to kind of get in quick and leave. It's not one of those situations. So tell me, in your experience, as a mindset coach, what are the most common limiting beliefs that hold people back, and how do you guide them in breaking free of those patterns?
Yeah. So I think in my experience, from what I've seen with people, with friends, my own experience as well, is the most common one is not good enough. People feeling not good enough. And I think it's the most debilitating and limiting belief that people face, whether it's in their career or personal development or, personal life or relationships. A lot of people feel not good enough in their relationships, not good enough to ask someone on a date, but the underlying narrative, it's basically, there's an underlying narrative that tells them that they don't measure up. So that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. And this belief, it stops people from taking action, asking for promotion, asking someone on a date, starting your own business. If you don't feel that you're worthy of it, if you don't feel that you measure up, that you're good enough for whatever you're trying to do, you're not going to take action. It's just not going to happen. So what I did in my own life and what I do now with my clients is we have to figure out what the limiting belief is. And then once we figure out what the root of that belief, of that, of that emotion, of that belief is, then we do the work to rewire the brain. There's a process that I've been trained on that I use now with my clients, that I've used it in my own life, and it's amazing. It brings a lot of results. Like literally, you can change a limiting belief into something more empowering. It's called the decision matrix. So once we figure out what that belief is, then we start working on coming up with an empowering belief to replace that one. And it literally, we have to deactivate the old limiting belief and install a new one. And there is a process that we use. We find evidence for the belief. And a lot of times, even if you can't find evidence for that belief in your own life, you can borrow someone else's evidence. Because if something, let's say I'm working on building a business and I hit a wall at some point and I realize that I have a limiting belief, well, this is not something I've done before, so I don't have any evidence in my life that I can be successful in my own business. But I have friends and I have people that I see online, for example, even if I don't know them. And if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. So we don't always have to have evidence in our own life. We can borrow evidence from somebody else's life because it's possible for someone else. It's definitely possible for me. One thing that I want to say about this is that, unfortunately, many people don't even realize that these beliefs are running the show. So they just feel that there's something is not right. Something is not working. I'm just feeling stuck. I'm just feeling overwhelmed. But behind all of these issues and challenges, there is a limiting belief. And people don't even know that they have these beliefs and that they're running the show until they start doing the work, until they start digging deeper to figure out what's going on. Why am I not progressing in this area of my life? Why is this not working for me?
I can't resonate with the not good enough. I can't say enough how many times I've said it was like, you know what? I'm not good enough. I don't think I qualify for this position.
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm good enough to be in this relationship where I could be the man that you want me to be. I don't feel like I'm good enough as a son, as a parent, not good enough fits into so many different scenarios that people can use and give themselves. And I'm not going to say if you give themselves an excuse, but a lot of different scenarios that people can resonate with to say, I've told myself that. Looking at a job description, I don't think that I have the qualifications for this position. I don't think, I'm good enough for this position. Everybody can be telling them to apply, but at the same time, they're like, well, I don't think I'm good enough. And I'm a prime example because I resonate. There was a job that I was looking at, and a lot of my mentors was telling me to go ahead and apply for it. And my mindset is that I don't think I qualify for the position. I don't think I'll be good enough. I knew the person that was in a position. it's some large shoes to fill. No, how am I going to do that? I don't know. And there was all this self-doubt. There was all this fear. There was all this, it was all these questions that I was asking myself. And at the end of the day, I let the position pass.
Yeah.
And somebody else end up getting the position. And I kick myself for not just even put myself in a position to even go and throw my hat in the ring, so to speak. And everybody has to just throw your hat in the ring when it comes to those type of situations. But even when you're telling somebody that they are good enough, the reality for them is that they're not good enough. Yes. And that's kind of difficult for them to accept on, so many levels, because their mind is telling them that they're not good enough. They're feeling that they're not good enough, like internally. So their mind and their emotions is both telling them that they're not good enough, and it's starting with the mind. I've heard this, time and time again when I'm trying to motivate family members or I try to motivate friends in something that they're telling me about, and they're saying that they're not good enough. And it's ironic that you say that, because I've heard it so many times for myself. I heard it so many times for people in my group that I'm not enough. And it's not, and it may not be those exact words, but it's always going to be some along the lines of I'm not enough. And they won't even try.
Yes.
They won't try. And I just find it, like I said, I just find it very ironic that came up in this conversation, because I hear it so often from other people that say what they can't do.
Yeah.
And I get stuck.
Yeah. I love the fact how you said, you tell them, no, you're good, but they feel it. And the reason why they feel it, because there's a concept that I also teach my clients so they can understand what these beliefs do to you and where they come from, or these thoughts, where they come from. So it's like, imagine like there's this loop, and it starts out with beliefs. So whatever beliefs we have, they dictate the thoughts that we think. And then those thoughts, they produce the emotions that we feel. And then emotions, they lead to actions. And sometimes that action is inaction. Like in your example, you let the position pass. You didn't even apply. So it's inaction. And then the action that we take, they produce the results that we have. So if you have, for example, a belief, let's talk about the situation about the job. So the belief that you're not good enough, you're not going to necessarily think exactly like you said, I'm not good enough. You're just going to have thoughts. Someone is telling you about a position and they're telling you to apply, and you're going to have thoughts like, well, I don't qualify for this. This is not for me. I don't think I can handle a position like that. And those thoughts will lead you to feel, frustrated and even angry that you can't qualify for something like this. Like, what can I do? And what else can I do to help myself, secure a job like this? And then what you do, because you have those feelings of frustration, and you have those feelings of you don't measure up, this is not for you, then you're not going to take action. And that's exactly what you did. You didn't take action. And then not taking action, what results are you getting? Nothing. You didn't get the results. But the funny thing about this system is that every time, those results, they basically reinforce the limiting belief. So you have results like you didn't get the position. So the end result, you didn't get the position, and it reinforcing the belief that you have, which is not good.
So how did your mindset training, help you prepare for, going into the CIA?
So like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't from, from when I started, when I came to the U.S. after my 8 years of minimum wage jobs into the CIA. once I started my MBA program, I was able to start a career in the pharmaceutical industry when I was in Philadelphia. So I worked a couple of years there, and then I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, where I worked as a contractor for DoD, for Department of Defense, for 4 years before I actually started a career at the CIA, also as a contractor. And I spent 12 years being a CIA officer. So the mindset work, it's just, so it started basically, I became a certified mindset facilitator before I left the CIA.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just my passion. And it was a coincidence that I came across this program and I just loved it. And because my journey into the personal development and self-help started in 2003. It was the first time a friend of mine told me about something called the law of attraction and the Secret movie, and that helped me discover, personal growth and self-help. And I was just doing so much work on myself, on my mindset, and that's what basically helped me to start transforming my life. But to answer your question, everything that I did, learning all the training and all the stuff and my work at the CIA, everything required that resilience. It required focus. It required a lot of mental focus and resilience and discipline and the ability to stay calm under pressure. In those times, like that, mindset training was absolutely essential, and it helped me. One thing that helped me learn early on that how mindset can help me manage, my thoughts and help me manage my emotions, and managing those directly impacted my performance. So mindset was the foundation, and it still is, in all the work that I've done, in all the work that I'm doing right now. And because it helped me to learn how to quiet my inner dialogue, how to quiet the self-doubt, how to manage my fear, and how to maintain an emotional balance. And I believe that all these skills are actually transferable to my mindset coaching, because that's exactly what I do with my clients, to help them manage stress and develop the mental toughness that's needed to overcome whatever life is, throws at their path. And you do that through mindset mastery. And that's basically what I teach my clients.
So you had stated that you was already into the mindset coaching before you left. So what was the introduction into mindset?
So my first certification into life coaching was what do you call it? It was mindset coaching and strategic intervention life coaching.
Okay.
And that was the first one. And I didn't feel like that was enough for me to basically start helping someone. It brought a little bit of a difference in my life, but I didn't feel it was enough. And I started this business coaching, and the first thing that the guy taught us is mindset. And it just completely changed my life and changed how I look at things, even though it's been years that I've been working on myself, but being exposed to just pure mindset work, it brought my level of understanding and my level of discipline and my level of fulfillment in my life into a whole different level. So that's what got me into becoming certified mindset facilitator. And when I did that, because I felt it's such a powerful methodology, and I actually started volunteering at the CIA in my department to do talks and do presentations and just help our people. And I got really, really good feedback that I started meeting with people outside of work to help them with whatever, challenges they were facing, and giving them resources and things like that. And they were very receptive to it. And the the amount of fulfillment I got from that was incredible.
Okay.
It just made me feel so happy and so fulfilled that I was able to increase someone's happiness, even if it's just a little bit, that I was able to be part and take part of someone's life. People were sharing personal things with me. They trusted me. And I was doing everything I could to help them, to provide resources, and to feel that I'm contributing to someone's happiness. It was a game changer for me. So I just felt that that was basically what I wanted to do, because I knew my career at the CIA, I knew that was not for the rest of my life, because that was not going well with the lifestyle that I wanted. There was a lot of travel, a lot of, not being home, leaving my mom, it just did not work for me. So I knew that lifestyle was not sustainable. So it was just like the natural transition.
It's
The
and
natural,
from what I'm hearing, it's not like you have found your passion in
yes,
being a life coach.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, and there are people that are looking for their passion, and they find
Yeah.
it in so many different ways. Sometimes you find it in a hobby. Sometimes you find it while doing work, and you find that there's something that needs to be done, or something that needs to happen, or something needs to be invented, and then you have this stroke of genius, and it's there, or you find it other ways. You find it just being in school and just take a elective class. Like I found a passion for psychology and
Yeah.
sociology, and I was going for HR, but I found a passion for psychology and sociology, and kind of really went head first into it outside of school. And it became a passion of mine, and something that I really wanted to go into and study behavior. Okay. Um, and I think that's what, the motivation, the idea of motivating and encouraging people comes in as, because the mindset and the behavior that goes behind it, is a dedication, discipline, and everything that goes along with it. So let me ask you this: for someone that is like currently in a rut, that's currently stuck, currently facing fear, doubt, and everything, to start today to change their mindset, what would be the advice?
So I think whatever it is you need to change, it starts with self-awareness. You have to become aware of it's a critical part of the process. You have to snap out of autopilot, because many of us, many people, they wake up in the morning and it's autopilot, just living life and thinkingly just doing it, going through the motion every day. But we have to snap out of that and become aware of your inner dialogue, become aware of your thoughts. You have to step back and basically watch your thoughts. What are you telling yourself all day long? When you're faced with a challenge, what do you tell yourself? Because you can't change what you don't understand. You can't change what you don't know. If you don't even know that your inner dialogue is negative, that your thoughts are negative, how can you even possibly think about changing them? So that's the first, in my opinion, that's the first step. You just start by observing your inner dialogue, what you tell yourself, how you talk to yourself all day long. And, and just notice. A lot of times when I question myself, I just want to see what am I focused on? Am I focused on possibilities when I think about my business? Or am I focused on reasons why this will not work for me? Where is your focus at? Because whatever you're focusing on is what you're feeding. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's the part that you're feeding the most. That's what you're giving your energy to. And whatever you're giving your energy to, that's what's going to grow in your life. So you start by awareness. And once you identify that, whether you do it yourself, whether you work with a coach, then you have to figure out what are these limiting beliefs that are holding you back. You know, a lot of times, one of the concepts I use is the inner conflict. I want this, but I want more money, but I don't know how. I want more money, but I can't make more money. I want a better job, but I don't know how to get another job. I don't think I qualify. I want to be in a good relationship, but I think all the good ones are taken. There are no good men out there. So all these thoughts and all these inner conflicts that we have, and we're not even aware of it. You know, a lot of times you ask people, what do you want? And they start telling you all the things that they don't want in their life. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
What do you want? You're telling me the things that you don't want. What do you want? And in just that shift, people can have so much clarity just by shifting that. Because a lot of times that the first thing we go to, what I don't want. Well, I don't want this. I don't want this person to be like this or to be like that. No, how about you switch that to how do you want that person to be? How do you want your partner to be, for example? Or how do you want to create your business? Instead of, well, I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that and I'm not good at marketing and I need an assistant. Okay, well, what can you do? What can you focus on that will put you at ease a little bit, that will get you to start taking action? And a lot of times it's because we have limiting beliefs, and those are the things that are holding us back, that are blocking us from moving forward. So once you figure out what your limiting beliefs are, then you can change them. Then you can do something about them. And there's so many things you can do and so many things to, rewire the brain, you know, get rid of limiting beliefs. So, but with all of that, you have to know what they are because you can't change what you don't understand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a great response. That was everything. For me, it starts with that self-evaluation. It starts with the self-evaluation. I don't think anybody can get anywhere without looking at themselves and actually making a determination on what you want, where do you want to go, and what do you want to be. Well, I would like to say thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate all the information that you provided. To all the farewell fans out there, make sure you like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next go around. Peace.